Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here again. You know, today, a lot of things going on in the world today. Very negative things, things we stand up against and advocate against and hope will change. We spend our lives basically with that mindset. But usually, it's just a mindset that doesn't change. Excuse me. It's a little bit better. So I want to talk to you about those mindsets that haven't changed, and I want to talk to you about problem fixers. I want to talk to you about stuff that you should know more of, and apparently I get the impression that you don't. And what I'm speaking of is that you, the people, are the government. You know, we could protest the government. The government. You can go to many places today where people have assembled themselves, rallying with signs talking about protesting the government. I mean, I'm sure I've thought of this before, but as I'm thinking about it right now, it doesn't make any sense at all. You, the people, are the government, and what you have in Washington are supposedly guys and ladies who have tricked you to think that they are there to speak for you, that they are there to represent you, when in reality they have been a con to abuse you by tricking you like this, while they go in there and are paid by people who are benefiting by ripping the society off. These guys, these ladies are getting their cuts for making it easy for them to do. And you out there with signs protesting them when you are the power. They go there to do what you tell them to do. How many of you can stay on a job if you weren't doing what your duty called for? You'd get it sent off right away. And so why are these guys still on the job? And why? Who got you convinced that you got to wait till another election? Well, these are the things that we have to deal with every day. I just wanted to bring it back to your attention. And also to say that Republicans cannot denounce Trump. The reason that they cannot denounce Trump is because they are Trump. Sure, they have copied him, but they still fear him because they are compromised as Trump. But the truth, America, is that Americans are their own problem, and they are their own solution. Look at inflation. How does that work positive for the poor? No way. But there will be, as a consequence of that, crime and violence behind it. People will go to jail, but the problem will still remain because you, the public, do not demand that it is corrected. Why? Why don't you demand it? Because the public, some do, but others don't even know better. Now, others know it's wrong, but they don't know what the solution is. And they are afraid to really respond beyond on the streets with a sign. Afraid. And if they thought they had a solution, they wouldn't be willing to do much more. I hear that the military annual budget is roughly around $80 billion. $80 billion a year. Now, I heard that on a social media post, several. I don't know if it's accurate or not. I hear that they are even making, for those of you who've been in the Navy, a carrier. You know what a carrier is? That's that big old baby out there in that ocean, where these planes be flying on and off. I hear they're making a carrier that will be flying. A carrier that's not in the water, but in the air. Now, this can't be true. There is no greater waste than putting a big old target like that in the sky. Nah. That part, that just can't be true. Look it up and see if that's true. You see, some of that which makes God God is ability. Ability to create the universe, heavenly bodies, of which the earth is included, hills and valleys, mountains and oceans, including all of the resources that are stored in the earth, or on the earth, or above the earth, seen and unseen. Also, enough resources and process to restore and maintain necessary and required resources to sustain these or those that are required of them throughout eternity. Man, what a God. Now this God, having the ability to create living creatures, to utilize these resources, to meet any need, any want, any desire that humans, which is one of the creations, might require in and throughout their walk of life. This God, the creator that all we as humans can claim or cannot claim as our own. Let me say that again. This God, creator of all that we as humans cannot claim as our own. Now, you know, we try to claim all the oil. We try to claim all the resources in the earth. We didn't make them. But anyway, I'm talking about this God that created all that humans cannot claim as their own. Also created humans in a form and fashion such that in the proper time, every prerequisite necessary to satisfy heavenly man's existence throughout. Can you believe this? I've said this 1,000 times. In the proper time, every prerequisite necessary to satisfy heavenly man's existence throughout the exercise of peace. This is how you know it's heavenly. Prosperity. This is how you know it's heavenly. Freedom. This is how you know it's heavenly. Joy and happiness. This is how you know it's heavenly. And living your dreams. Never suffering from anything they have the ability to fix, including but not limited to food and clothing and shelter and education and health care. Anything created at the hands of man. Like all God's work, is perfected. Humans must live amongst one another and exercise a gift they have been given called choice. In a perfect manner, a godly spirit, to produce their heavenliness. That's one choice. The other choice is an exercise of disrespect for truth in an attempt to become the author of life. That means like replacing God. Discarding history. Discarding what your parents have taught. They don't know what they're talking about. Don't God do who? What is that? Doing one's own thing with another's material in violation to the basic principles of life. Their choice is working for a few, while the rest, in various ways, satisfy the perceived powers. This approach is identified by wealth and poverty, crime and violence, lying and cheating and stealing and killing, hatred and racism and bigotry, terror and war. This is a representation of the other choice, man's superiority man's evil, man causing pain and suffering from every direction. The same choice, incapable of producing the heavenly choice. Man. The heavenly choice is about brotherhood. It is about honoring the invisible power by treating one another as one would be treated. These know that all resources belong to an unseen power, yet we as humans can use. And since all humans can use these resources, all playing a role in the production of these resources, everything that's made, it makes all humans part owners of all that which has been made. Thus, heavenliness experienced by this choice is representative of the power of God and the lack of heavenliness for ignoring God. See, the harmony of the people on the planet Earth requires that a respect for the invisible God is reflected through the treatment of one another. No announcement that God is God. There is no other answer. Everything humans try will fail. What is basically being said, ladies and gentlemen, is that since the beginning of time, at least the part where humans start walking to their own will, checking out what they thought, and choosing it over that which is heavenly, over that which is spiritually heavenly, over that which produces heavenliness. So they keep on. You know, like they say, love is so good when you're still in it. All the wonderful things happen at midnight. You know how they say it. Well, the truth of the matter is that we do have choice. That is that we could be a part of life, or we can be a part of the destruction of life. The part of life is when we respect one another, and there is no such thing as being amongst all of this that's going on and calling ourselves respecters of life, because we choose and pick here and there, but we do not stand for the righteousness of all. For instance, the people that I was talking about at a rally with all these signs, it'd be 1,000 or 10,000 or 1,000,000 people out there with 1,000,000 different signs, and asking some perceived power to deal with these signs. And they could choose 5 or 6 and make you think that they've done something, because you are not smart enough to know that every last one of your signs represents something that is important to the people. And the way to fix this is to change the system and make a system designed to meet the needs that the people have. But if you, and when you know that, you got to also know to the extent that you give representation to that. See, to know that, and then sit around with people who in the world, not just in America, who are homeless. If they're homeless in Guatemala, we not necessarily should be saying open up our borders, but we shouldn't be closing them, because we should be such a light that the people in Guatemala would try to do exactly what we are doing, just to keep the people in Guatemala. Don't go to America. Stay right here. You can have it right here. Stay right here in the Philippines. You don't have to go any place. Stay right here in every place on the earth where you've been running from, because now you can have it. That's using God's principle. So now, if you call yourself knowing God, then all of the stuff that I'm just mentioning would be on your radar. And there would be no satisfaction of you talking about how wonderful things are as long as that exists. Now, in my lifetime, so you can go back in history and find a lot of representatives of this. But in my lifetime, I believe that there have been a couple of people who represented God. I believe that President John F. Kennedy, he was a crook just like all of us are. But we grow up, some of us do. We learn, some of us do. And we change our ways and do different, some of us. And he, according to the speeches that he was making about the hidden stuff of this country and the world, he was telling us something. Something that he was killed for. Now, I know he's been called for being killed for all kinds of things. And he was killed for all kinds of things. But this was one of them as well. Now, another man that was killed because of this was Dr. Martin Luther King. Dr. Martin Luther King was killed because of this, because he had everything that he knew about truth he was going to share. Another man that was killed because of this, I knew this, was Malcolm X. Now, there are a lot of people who were killed and destroyed following these gentlemen. You know, we don't know their names too much. But we do know the names of those that were held up, who were like the head that they cut off. And the other people out there who wanted to be heads were bought off because they were given some money to engage themselves in a process to say that they were working to bring about changes in the future, changes that we haven't seen yet. In fact, they're trying to take back any changes that were established by those who lost their lives. And we call ourselves righteous and holy. And yes, according to what we've been trained to be, we are righteous and holy. But we are not righteous and holy to that which brings about heavenliness. That is the result of following the true God. If you're following the true God, this country would be changing, or you wouldn't be here, and you wouldn't have no problem with it. Trying to say, oh, I got to live. I got to live. I want another egg. I want another steak. Or I won't have sex one more time. I can't die now. You call yourself a, yeah. Well, anyway, keep on with that mindset. But those who have said, with this, I don't want to have anything to do with it. You can have all of that if you want it. But I'm standing up for something different and mean it. And they'll kill you if it's God's will. If God knows that the people are not going to be moved by you, nothing going to happen, and God doesn't not choose to let you stay here and deal with this a little bit longer, God will allow you to pass out of here, and you will not mind. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you again, you will not mind. You will not be sitting over there talking about you want to live forever. You won't be sitting there saying, oh, Lord have mercy, just take care of me one more day. No. And if you were saying take care of me one more day, it's because you can roll up your sleeves and stay busy. I didn't say get busy. I said stay busy. But that ain't happening. So I say this to tell all the people on earth that there's nobody on this earth, I'm talking to you individually and collectively, there's nobody on this earth, I don't care what they got or don't have, there's nobody on this earth that's more important than you. And you are no more important than anybody on this earth. And your being on this earth is an indication that you are entitled to the basic human rights for being on this earth. And that basically means that you have the choice to claim heavenly things right here on this earth as if you were some other place in heaven. You got that right. And you got the right to let nothing interfere with that. Before you do, then you'll go to another place that perhaps God has prepared for those who will not stand the living in hell. I guess I made my point. To all the Republicans and Democrats, blacks and whites, Americans and other people of the world, we missed this one. We all on a train track fast to hell. But we can change it. But it basically means freedom to every individual on earth. Life to every individual on earth. Excitement to every individual on earth. And people remember, it is you the power. It's not your representatives that's doing it to you. You are doing it to yourselves by allowing them to continue to do it. And you do it because you do not know the true God, the one of love. Until next time, this is Eddie Marcus saying goodbye for now. Woo.